Securitization is the creation of a security threat or the manifestation of a security threat by the elite. The elite in society, be it political, security, and media elite, will determine that something is an existential crisis, and it will then allow for them to, forego ensuring public buy-in, having public conversation. It'll allow them to funnel funds to that specific security threat or crisis, and to really kind of overlook a lot of democratic principles in an attempt to address that crisis. A lot of funds and resources will go into a very temporary understanding of something, often with a very superficial reaction, rather than address underlying causes. It's important for us to recognize that while securitization can mobilize things very temporarily, in the long term, it often does very little and actually harms the local community. Securitization states that something is a threat to your community. And often if we're talking, for example, about a disease, rather than the disease being securitized, it's the people who potentially could carry it, right? So we then begin to vilify people. We want to talk about increasing ideologies, we then start securitizing refugees. You see, so it really, securitization is so vague and it's so open for your own personal application of human rights that it becomes quite detrimental. Because we no longer have legitimate and inclusive governing structures. A lot of people do not identify with their government as something they trust and respect, and a lot of our social contract has deteriorated. So it becomes a question of why are our governments attempting to kind of sideline the civil discourse? How do we have more honest conversations, open conversations with our government where our civil liberties are not infringed in the name of security? Gender equality only comes about when we genuinely start to challenge our existing norms and start to look at why they exist. We start to challenge the language we use. We start to challenge the history of gender equality and recognize that it's not only a gender issue. It's an economic issue. It's a political issue. It's an issue. It's a health issue. And we have to really kind of look at all those different avenues and create a base through which we can actually work rather than just say, let's solely talk about gender.